ಅವ್ರು ಬರೋರು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಪರಿಭಾಷೆನೇ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅಲ್ಲವೇ? ಏವಂ ತ್ವಂ ಪದಾರ್ಥ ವಿವೇಕ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಪ್ರದರ್ಶಿತ. ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಹಿಂದಿನ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ತತ್ಪದಾರ್ಥ ತ್ವಂ ಪದಾರ್ಥ ಎರಡೂ ಆಯಿತು ಅಲ್ಲವ? ಅದು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಇದೆ, ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ? ಆಯಿತು, ಓಕೆ, ಮಾಡಿ. ಹಾಂ, ತತ್ಪದಾರ್ಥ ತ್ವಂ. Since they have not come, I am continuing my other class. Yeah, I'll just wait for a few minutes. So, ಅಚ್ಚೆ ತತ್ಪದಾರ್ಥ ತ್ವಂ ಪದಾರ್ಥದ ವಿವೇಕ, ಎರಡು ಪದಾರ್ಥಗಳ ವಿವೇಕ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ. ಏವಂ ತ್ವಂ ಪದಾರ್ಥ ವಿವೇಕ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಪ್ರದರ್ಶಿತ. ಅಂದರೆ ಮಹಾವಾಕ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ತತ್ವಮಸಿ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾಗ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ನೀನು, ಮೊದಲು ಅದು ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ವಾಕ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊದಲು ಅದು, ನಂತರ ನೀನು. ಅದು ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಅದು ನೀನು ಎಂಬುದು ಎರಡು ಸರ್ವನಾಮಗಳು. ಈ ಸರ್ವನಾಮಗಳಿಗೆ ಈ ವಾಕ್ಯ ಏನರ್ಥ? ಇದು ತತ್ವಮಸಿ ಎಂಬ ಒಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಾಯ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ, 6ನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯ. ಛಾಂದೋಗ್ಯೋಪನಿಷತ್ತಿನ 6ನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಬರುತ್ತದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ತತ್ತೆಂದು ಮೊದಲು ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಸದೇವ ಸೌಮ್ಯದ ಮಗ್ರಾಸಿ, ಮೊದಲು ಸತ್ತೆಂಬುದೇ ಇತ್ತು, ಅದರಿಂದಲೇ ಈ ಜಗತ್ತೆಲ್ಲ ಹುಟ್ಟಿತು ಆಯಿತು. ಅದು ತಾನು ಎಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ತಾನು ಯಾರು ಅದು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, ಮೊದಲು ತನ್ನ ವಿಚಾರ ನಡೆಯಬೇಕು. ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾನು ಎಂಬುದು, ನಾನು ಯಾರನ್ನು ಏನೆಂದು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇನೋ ಆ ನಾನೆಂಬುದನ್ನು ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದರ ನಿಜಸ್ವರೂಪವೇನು ಎಂದು ಹುಡುಕಿ ನಿಶ್ಚಯ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಎಂದು ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೋ ಅದನ್ನು ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದರ ಮೂಲ ಸ್ವರೂಪವೂ ನಿಶ್ಚಯ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಎರಡೂ ಆಗಿದೆ. ತತ್ಪದಾರ್ಥ ಆಯಿತು, ತ್ವಂ ಪದಾರ್ಥ ಆಯಿತು. ನಿರ್ವಿಶೇಷ ನಿತ್ಯ ಶುದ್ಧ ಬುದ್ಧ ಮುಕ್ತ ಸ್ವರೂಪಶ್ಚ ಸನ್ ಅಪಿ ಅಯಮಾತ್ಮ ಅನಾದ್ಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾಧ್ಯಾರೋಪಿತ ದೇಹೇಂದ್ರಿಯ ಮನ ಆದ್ಯುಪಾಧಿ ಸಂಪೃಕ್ತ ಇವ ಭಾತ್ಯ ವಿವೇಕಿನಾಂ ತತಶ್ಚ ಪ್ರಮಾತೃತ್ವಂ ಕರ್ತೃತ್ವಂ ಭೋಕ್ತೃತ್ವಂ ಚ ಅಸ್ಮಾಕಂ ಸ್ವರೂಪಮೇವೇತಿ. ತಮಗೇನು? ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಹಿಯರ್? ಓಹ್, ಓಕೆ.
Beg your pardon.
ಅಂದರೆ I conclude that and continue. I was speaking something in Kannada. Just ಅಂದರೆ ತ್ವಂ ಪದಾರ್ಥ ವಿವೇಕ ಏಕೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾನು ಎಂಬ ಶಬ್ದದ ನಿಜವಾದ ಸ್ವರೂಪವೇನೋ ಏಕೆ ನಿಶ್ಚಯ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ, ಈಗ ನಾನು ಯಾರನ್ನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನೋ ಇದು ತನ್ನ ನಿಜ ಸ್ವರೂಪದ ತಪ್ಪು ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಈ ತಪ್ಪನ್ನು ಹಿಡುಕೊಂಡು ಅನ್ವೇಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದರೆ ಆ ಮೂಲ ಸ್ವರೂಪವೇನು ವಾಸ್ತವಿಕ ತಿಳಿಯುತ್ತದೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನಾನು ಎಂಬುದು ನಮಗೆ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದಲೇ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ. ಎಲ್ಲೇ ಆಗಲಿ ತಪ್ಪು ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆಯೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದಲೇ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ. ಏಕೆಂದರೆ ತಪ್ಪಿನ ಮೂಲದಲ್ಲೇ ವಾಸ್ತವಿಕ ಇರುತ್ತದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ತ್ವಂ ಪದಾರ್ಥದ ವಿವೇಕ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಎಂದು ಮೊದಲು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದರ ನಿಜ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಸ್ವರೂಪ, ನಿತ್ಯ ಶುದ್ಧ ಬುದ್ಧ ಮುಕ್ತ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಾಯಿತು. ಅದನ್ನು ಇನ್ನೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ನಂತರ ಹೇಳೋಣ ಇದು ಮುಗಿಯಲಿ. ಆಯಿತು. ಓಂ ಗುರುರ್ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಗುರುರ್ವಿಷ್ಣು ಗುರುರ್ದೇವೋ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರ ಗುರು ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಪರಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ತಸ್ಮೈ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರವೇ ನಮಃ. I just follow the book so that it becomes easy to understand. Evam, in the first mantra of Mandukya Upanishad, it discussed the waking Swarupa, the nature of the waking Atma. In other words, one Atma appearing as waking state, dream state and deep sleep state, as three states. Therefore, the same Atma means oneself, the same Atma appearing as the waking state. Therefore, we call waking is a waking Atma. Waking, we are not interested in the waking state. Waking Atma, we are interested in the Atma that appears, that exists within the waking state. Therefore, waking Atma, Vaishvanara Atma we call it, means the same Atma appearing in the or present in the waking state. That we have discussed. He says, now in the second mantra, Evam Samanantarottara mantre Samupavarnito yas Taijasa. Second is, next comes Taijasa Atma. Taijasa Atma means the second dream Atma, the dream self. First was the waking self, now the dream self and the sleeping self. Another is the pure self, which is free from the states. This is how we have to say when we have to say in English. We are saying in English. So Hiranyagarbha, Taijasaha Hiranyagarbha, Tasya Manovasana Rupa Prajna Vishayaha Ityantaha Antaprajnasaha. Upanishad describes the dream Atma, the dream self, Swapnatma, Taijasatma, as Antaprajna. It describes him as Antaprajna, means his consciousness is inward. Consciousness is internal, not inward, but internal. Waking state it describes as outward consciousness, and it describes the dream state as internal consciousness. This also is a relative statement, not an absolute statement. Waking is outward because you are conscious of the external world. The consciousness is turning towards the external world. It is facing the external objects. Whereas a dream, here you see, dream is internal. The consciousness within the dream is inward consciousness. That means it is not facing the external world, but it has its own world within it. This is from the waking standpoint. Okay, first you note it. Mandukya Upanishad talks two ways, two levels. Why Mandukya Upanishad, entire Vedanta? One is you look at the dream from the waking state. If you look at the dream from the waking state, it looks that dream is personal and private, therefore we call it internal. Internal means it is personal and private. So it looks internal, whereas the waking world is outside us. So this way, this is one way. This is one way in the Upanishads, all the 10 Upanishads deal with avasthas this way. Second is taking the two avasthas as equal. Waking and dream both are equal. Now one is internal, another is external. It doesn't divide like that. Take the two states the same way. That is a much more a deeper thinking, because dream while experiencing appears as waking alone. Dream while experiencing appears as a waking. This is waking, the dream is also waking. Then you won't be able to distinguish which is waking and which is not. Both are waking only. Therefore, this is another standpoint. Taking both are waking is one prakriya, one method of examining the states. Another method is taking the dream as internal and the waking as external. Dream as internal world, waking as an external world. This is first method, this is the second method. Two methods of examining the states. Because in Upanishads you find these two methods stated. So, Shankaracharya takes both, some places that, some places this. But the commentators, Vyakhyanakaras, say that all the Vedanta takes universally only the first one. Dream as internal, waking as external. This alone is a standard Vedantic method. They take it. Who? Our post-Shankarite commentators. After Shankaracharya, those who came, all those post-Shankarite commentators take this as standard one. Taking two states as equal is rarely done by some Gaudapada. They put it as a rare one and only confine it to only one person, to Gaudapada. This is the difference. And because of that later many other changes have happened. Anyway, we are not going into the history of Vedanta. That our Swamiji has done one book separately, Prakriya Pratyabhigna, how Vedantic method has been changing, how different approaches have been found. We don't go into details because our purpose is to understand Vedanta. We don't go into details of those. That's a different subject. So here, Swamiji, it is an essence of Vedanta. Just as we have told at the first day, it is the essence of Vedanta. Therefore, Vedanta has to give you a summary of Vedanta. Therefore, it deals with both the methods. First method also, second method also. Both he teaches so that you will be prepared to use both the methods to inquire into Atma. To inquire into the real nature of Atma, you use both the methods. Once you are familiar with both the methods, then wherever it occurs in Vedanta, you can understand easily. You won't get confused. But we have to be very clear which method we are using. That should be very clear. So first he says, Antaprajnaha, inward consciousness. Inward means what? From the waking standpoint means after you come out of dream. After you come out of dream, you being in waking, looking at the dream. How does the dream look like? Dream looks like a false state. Because it doesn't exist, it's only an imagination. Dream looks like a false because the world doesn't exist now. It looks like just imagination within the mind. Whereas the waking looks as a solid and real. It is concrete. The waking looks like concrete, substantial, whereas the dream looks like insubstantial, imaginary. It looks like imaginary, waking looks like concrete and real. Okay. So, keeping this, because these common people who are the beginners of Vedanta find it easy to understand. Because this is how the common man's view is, that we are in the waking state, therefore waking is concrete and real and dream is imaginary. This standpoint, this prakriya, this method of investigation looks easier for people. The other one where both the states are equal, it requires a lot of inward thinking, lot of deeper thinking. A person who is a little more familiar with Vedanta, who has gone a little deeper into Vedanta, find it easier to understand both the states are same. Okay, that both the states being same, Swamiji himself says next. After 2 pages he says that we will say it later. Now we will talk of this. Now when we say dream is internal, generally people think that waking is real. Waking world is the real world, dream is only imaginary. But to imagine you need memories. Because whatever you have seen, really seen before, those memories you carry, only those memories you restructure, reproject them. You project means your mind projects, imagines. Projection of your imagination only. You imagine, you project your mind based upon your past memories. Past memories means you have experienced before. Therefore, in this first method, thinks that dream is internal. That means the dream world is based upon the waking memories. You carry the waking memories, and the same waking memories you reimagine there, project them, and start seeing few experiences. This is what people think. Therefore, antaprajnah, in the antaprajnah saha tad vasana vishishtastu jivaha. There, jiva is there, but that jiva is vasana vishishtaha. Vasana means impressions, memories. Samskara, vasana, these are difficult to translate, but you may say memories or impressions of past experiences remain in your mind as memories, and those memories you replay. Replay means you reimagine in the dream and start seeing it. Vasana mayan swantastaneva mumte ityantaprajnah. Therefore he is called antaprajnah. Taking the waking standpoint, dream is described as inward consciousness. Dream is described as inward consciousness. Tasya sarva vasana prapanchasya sakshetu prakasha rupayam vishaya rupayam prajnayam vishayi bhavati swachaitanya rupena prakashena itaitat tejasaha. Now, the consciousness, the jiva in dream is also imaginary dreamer, imaginary jiva. Means the jiva means the experiencer of dream state is also part of the dream state. So that experiencer of the dream state and the dream world, both are inward within the consciousness. Because it is easy to understand how dream is within my consciousness. It doesn't exist outside my consciousness. It becomes easy to understand. There, the consciousness is, look at the consciousness of the whole state, whole dream state, not of a given one object or two objects. Take the entire dream state, the consciousness of the entire dream state is pervading the entire state. Okay, the consciousness of the dream state pervading the entire dream state, within the state is that individual jiva and the world. Both he is conscious of. So that consciousness is vast, spreading the entire dream state. So he is the Sakshi. That Sakshi is Taijasa Atma, dream self. It is dream self means the self. Self means who is the basis. Who is the basis? Like a TV screen. It is the screen on which the TV picture arises. The picture of TV appears on the screen. I don't know whether you have in Italy, but in India, when the TV is on, power goes off. Or no, the TV station, not power goes off, power is on. At home the power is on, electric power is on, but the TV station power goes off. When the TV station power goes off, you won't find the picture here. There is only just a light and the screen. The screen is full of light, a bright screen. Let us say it is a light only. You see the light without any picture, any sound, any picture. Because at the TV station power went off. After a few seconds or maybe 1 minute, now I think they may have light, but earlier long before 20, 30 years ago, when I was in Hyderabad, power would go off, it would take some time and then the station would start again. Means the picture comes again. So when the picture goes off, what is there at the background is only bright screen. Okay, the light screen. That is comparable to Sakshi. I am giving this as an example, as an illustration. Okay, this is a drishtanta, illustration. Similarly, consciousness is like a TV screen, which is a bright, all the time bright. Okay, in that bright light, the pictures appear for a while and go away. So, the entire dream world is comparable to a picture where the colors and sound and experiences of good and bad and everything is there. The background is the pure light, pure consciousness. Within the consciousness you find the entire dream. Okay. So the entire consciousness which covers the entire dream world. Without the consciousness, no dream object appears. No dream individuality appears. The dream individual, dream experiences, dream world, everything appears within the consciousness. So, if you examine the dream, distinguishing means separating the consciousness, understanding the consciousness as independent of the dream world becomes easy. There, discriminating the sakshi, the witnessing consciousness becomes easy in dream. Because dream world already has become false. Because we woke up from the dream. When we woke up from the dream world has already become false. It is only a thought, imagination. When it is superficially there, thought means only superficial. There is no concrete world. It's only just superficial. When there is only thought alone, then consciousness is there underlying, in and through all the thoughts. In and through the dream thoughts, consciousness is there. It is easy to discover consciousness is the truth of entire dream state. Okay. Consciousness is the truth of entire dream state. Truth means there is a truth of only false things. Okay. Rope is the truth. Rope, in the example of rope and snake, rope is the truth of snake. Okay. Rope is called truth. With reference to snake, it is called truth. But rope itself is rope, that's all. Rope itself is rope. But rope is described as a truth for the snake. Because snake is a false appearance. The truth of the snake is rope. Isn't it? So this is how we see. Our wave and water. Wave is only appearance. The truth of the wave is water. Water is the truth of the wave. Similarly, here, consciousness is the truth of dream state. Dream is only false appearance of whom? Of the same consciousness. Wave is wrong appearance of the water. Wave is the false appearance of water. Water is the truth of wave. Okay. Water is the truth of wave. So one is Satyam, another is Mithya. Mithya means false appearance. False appearance means mistake, wrongly taken, erroneous perception we call error. So snake is an error, a wrong perception of the same rope. So rope is the truth of whom? Truth of the wrong perception. Truth of wrongly perceived snake. So therefore here, consciousness is the truth of dream state. Truth means what? The snake itself doesn't exist. Rope is the truth of snake. When we say truth doesn't mean it is sitting behind it, below and the snake is over it. It doesn't mean that. Like a book is placed on the table. Okay? Take another example. Book is placed on the table. Here you can't say table is the truth and book is the mithya, false. Because both are real here in this example. When book is placed on the table, not this way. Where a snake appears upon the dream, that means upon the rope itself appears as snake. The snake is a wrong appearance of the rope. So rope is the truth. Truth means that's what really is. You perceive it as a snake. In spite of your perception, what is lying there is only rope. Suppose you say you see the snake from a distance. Our one Guru, Gudivada Guru used to say, no other people told this. One particular Guru told me, you wear some gloves, plastic gloves, where the snake cannot bite you. Okay? You wear some thick gloves and the snake bite won't touch your fingers. Wear that, but you can feel the touch of it. So in the darkness when you see the rope as a snake, wearing the gloves, go and touch it. What do you feel to your hand? What do you feel? Do you feel the snake or do you feel the rope? You don't feel the snake. Snake is only your thought. What is there is only rope. What really is lying there is rope. What appears is a snake. So this is the difference. Similarly, dream state is only appearance. What is really existing is witnessing consciousness, Sakshi. Sakshi or the witnessing consciousness, Sakshi Chaitanyam is reality, is really existing, but appearing as a dream state. So dream state is not existing. That you have to note it. Dream state is not existing there. Existing is consciousness. Appearance is dream. See here, snake is not existing there. Snake is not existing. Even while you are perceiving the snake, there was never a snake. The rope doesn't assume the snake tentatively for a while. Does it assume? Does the rope tentatively for a short while, for a few seconds, assumes the snake and goes back to the rope? Does it go like that? It doesn't appear. It doesn't assume the snakehood and then threaten you. And when you come near or when you switch on the light, it goes back and sits innocently as if it doesn't know. Does the rope do like that? Children play like that, but the rope doesn't do that. Rope doesn't play. Rope doesn't act as a snake. Rope remains rope alone. It's not acting. Therefore, it is not assuming. Rope is not assuming the role of a snake. Rope is not acting as a snake. Rope remains only rope. Throughout andre endigu. Throughout it remains only rope. Then snake is only a perception of the rope. See, snake is a perception of the rope, therefore we call it a wrong perception. It is a wrong perception of the rope, same rope. Therefore, the underlying, the reality of the wrong perception is rope. So rope is the truth, snake is only a wrong perception. Okay. This is example only. This example, when a thing is very subtle, very, very subtle thing, sukshma. Subtle means very sukshma. When it is very, very subtle, to understand, mind misses it. Isn't it? When there are many things lying there, sometimes on a tree, or sometimes you are watching the stars. One star is very small, minute star, very difficult to understand. Or sometimes on a tree, trees at a distance on a mountain, over a tree there are leaves, over the leaf there is a small bird. When people are seeing, somebody sees, another fellow misses it. They say, where is that? I am unable to see. Then you have to explain. How do you explain that? Imagine that this is like this, and then there is a branch, there is a side branch, there is a leaf. In between the leaves there is a slightly different color, black color. You imagine this. I give you this example. This example helps you to have a shape of your mind. Mind gets an idea. With the help of it, watch that. Oh, he looks at the branch, side branch, then one leaf, bigger leaf, smaller leaf, in between. Yes, now I see the bird. Okay. So, this example creates an outlook to your mind. An outlook, an angle of looking. This example, illustration, gives you an angle of looking. Otherwise, your attention goes all over, gets spread around, unable to concentrate exactly on the point. Therefore, the illustration, purpose of illustration is to shape your mind and how to focus. You focus in this manner. So, in this manner you focus, and in this manner, in this angle you look at it. Once your mind is shaped and you pay attention, you get it easily. Otherwise, among the many things, your attention gets broken. Attention gets spread around. It is not concentrating. It is getting disturbed. Attention is getting disturbed. It is not falling exactly on the point. Therefore, illustration is given. Otherwise, why illustration unnecessarily? Purpose of illustration is that only. Therefore, here, the rope and snake I have explained in the example. This is the way, this is the relation. You have to keep in mind and look at the truth. Similarly, dream is in place of snake, and the consciousness is its content. So it is the truth. Truth doesn't mean it is one is below and one other is above. Like book and table, you should not see. It is not like that table placed on the book, one and above. It is not above. Where is the snake? Is the snake over the rope, or left of the rope, or left of the rope, right of the rope, or front of the rope, or back of the rope, or over the rope, or inside the rope? Tell me. Which angle, in which direction, which angle the snake is present? Is the snake front of the rope, or back of the rope, or left of the rope, or right of the rope, or over the rope? It is not sitting over the rope or within the rope. Then where is it? It is perception, that's all. It's a wrong perception, nowhere related to rope, but rope forms the content of it. Content means it is the truth of it. Rope forms the content of it, just as a gold is the content of ornament. Water is the content of wave. Content means it's inner truth. It is a content. In fact, without the water, if suppose you remove the water, nothing of the wave remains. You take away the water, you take away the gold, what part of the ornament remains? Gold is appearing as an ornament, you shape it. Once you remove the gold, what remains of the ornament? Nothing. That's what we call nature. Similarly, snake, the dream is only appearance. The content, the real stuff, the content means the real material. The real material is the upadana karanam. The real material is consciousness alone. The consciousness is shaped as dream. Otherwise, dream itself is not an entity. Dream is not an entity. Entity vastu enalla. Adu thorike, it's an appearance, but not an entity. So, the entire dream, subject and object, all that appearance has its reality in the consciousness alone. So, discovering the consciousness as a truth of the entire dream is easy. That's why we first examine the dream. First examine the dream because we are not directly part of the dream at the moment. At the moment, we are part of the waking state. We are not existing as a dreaming person within the dream. We have come out of it. That means we can be sakshi, we can be witness to the dream easily. Therefore, first understand how dream is unreal. Dream is false. And you are the consciousness. With reference to dream world, you are the entire consciousness. Okay? Similarly, look at the waking. Okay, I think the dream is continuing. Let us follow Swamiji. Instead of explaining, giving my explanation, let us follow the book. Sasvena bhasa svena tejasa praswapiti atrayam purusha swayam jyotir bhavati. Therefore, in dream, it is easy to understand the consciousness because the world is nominal. Waking world is substantial. It is concrete world. Whereas the dream world is only a name. It is only in a name, there is no world. It is only in a name. Therefore, there discovering consciousness easy. Here he quotes the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad statement. Last time we discussed the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Atrayam Purusha Swayam Jyotir Bhavati. In dream, the Purusha means Atma. In dream, the Atma is Swayam Jyoti, self-shining. Why self-shining means consciousness in dream. Consciousness, if you follow the book, it becomes a technical like that. That's why I told. These last 3 days, I set aside the book, I spoke on my side. Now let me follow the book. If you follow the book, it becomes a technical. Swayam Jyoti. Swayam Jyoti means, in dream, the consciousness is self-shining. Self-shining means what? There is a slight difference. In the waking, consciousness is there, but this consciousness is relative consciousness. It is depending upon the external object. It is depending. Depending means what? Light is illumining an object. Light is light. Light is seen as a light only, worldly light, let us say. Let us say the worldly light can be seen as a light only when it is illumining some object. Okay? Light, when it is illumining some object, you can recognize it. Otherwise, if there is a light traveling in one direction, there is no object on the way, you would not see it. In the waking, comparatively, relatively he is talking. In the waking state, consciousness is always illumining some object. Therefore, people think that consciousness is not independent. Consciousness is always in association with the external object. ಬಾಹ್ಯ ಪದಾರ್ಥದ ಸಂಬಂಧದಲ್ಲೇ ಅರಿವಿದೆ ಎಂದು ಎಚ್ಚರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತದೆ. Waking thinks that consciousness is always in relationship with an object. That means light is a light only when there is an object to illumine. This is what we gather from the waking state. ಎಚ್ಚರದಿಂದ ಇದೇ ನಮಗೆ ತಿಳಿಯುತ್ತದೆ, ಕಾಮನ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ಗೆ, ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯರಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. We generally take conscious means conscious of what? We always ask immediately. Atma is consciousness. Conscious of what? ಆತ್ಮ ಅರಿವು ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ಅರಿಯುತ್ತದೆ? This is what we put a question. Atma is conscious of what? This is how we put a question. So in waking it appears. For common man it appears that in waking state there is no doubt consciousness in waking state. Waking state is nothing but consciousness only. But that consciousness is always conscious of something. Therefore, the consciousness is always in association with an object. So to show the contrast with waking, dream is there is a consciousness without an object to illumine. There is a consciousness without an object to illumine because there are no objects. It is only imagining its own thoughts. It is like when mind is imagining its own thoughts. Or I'll tell you another example. In the waking state, sense organs perceive only when there is an object. Sense organs also consciousness only. Because eyes have a consciousness, yes, everything is conscious. All sense organs have consciousness. But sense organs are sense organs only when there is an object. Eyes are eyes only when there is a color or something to see. If there is no color, what happens? Eyes cease to be eyes. They can't see anything. So eyes cease to be eyes. Sense organs always depend upon external object. While illumining the object alone, you find the consciousness is present. Whereas in dream is like mind. When you are experiencing through mind, the thoughts are also mind, experiencing is mind, everything is mind alone. When you imagine a thought and think your own thought, the thinker and thought both are mind only. So there, it is easy to understand there is only mind. It is easy to understand there is only mind. Similarly, in dream state, consciousness itself is imagining things. So since things are imaginary, they are not really existing. Therefore, we can say consciousness doesn't depend upon external objects. It is imagining its own thought, its own ideas, its own things. Therefore, consciousness is there independently. Atrayam purusha swayam jyotihi. When you are explaining a quotation, a statement of Upanishad, then it becomes very difficult. Because you have to explain the book. When you leave out the book and directly explain, it becomes easy. So the book says, Atrayam Purusha Swayam Jyotihi. In dream, the consciousness is self-shining. Self in the sense, not depending upon external object. Okay? Not depending upon external object. How to say? If there is a dark room here, say completely dark. There is one small hole. Okay, externally there is a light outside. You see, the light is passing through that small hole this side. It is going this side. Still you see only darkness alone. When you put hand on something, oh, there is light, you come to know that. If light is traveling from the hole in one direction, you would not even know that there is a light. Isn't it? You would not know that there is a light. Okay? When you put something object, then the light falls on it and reverts. It reverts, then you say, it reflects back, then you see, oh, there is a light. Otherwise, if life travels in one direction, you would not know. It looks like darkness. Similarly, in dream, the consciousness imagining, there are certain imaginary ideas and it is illumining. There you can see, since the objects are only imaginations, consciousness is independent. Therefore, in dream it is easy to understand consciousness is independent. Whereas in waking, you think that consciousness depends upon external object. When there is no external object, there is no consciousness. This is what common man is likely to think. Therefore, in the beginning, first you teach him dream. You watch the dream. You understand how consciousness is independent. Once you discover that, come back to waking and again say that waking is also same. Waking is also same. Consciousness is independent and waking world is also thought alone. This is the next step. Okay? So, itanta prajnatvam yaschayam asmins chandre tejomayo amrutamaya purushaha iti tejasatvam chasya prasiddham satyantare antaprajnaschasau antasthiti prajna vishayatvat. This same thing is repeating what I have told. Vaishwanarasya savishayayah sthulayah prajnayah bhujyatvam tejasasya tu nirvishayayah. Because objects are only nothing superficial, they are only thoughts. There is only consciousness. Ata jagaritopadikasya sakshino vaishwanaratva kathanam sarvasyapi sthula prapanchasya jagarita avinabhavat. Ika waking up. Coming to the, how to say that? Coming to the waking state. Now next, once we understand consciousness is independent of the dream state, state is nothing, consciousness is there. Now coming to the waking, waking is also consciousness alone spreading out the entire the waking world. Once we understood what is consciousness, being independent, now you come to the waking state, keep that consciousness in his mind, see the wakefulness is nothing but consciousness. What is wakefulness? Wakefulness is consciousness. Even this sense of I is also part of it. The problem with the difficulty in understanding the waking is this sense of I, this individuality. Individuality thinks that it is knowing the world. And that is coming in the way in understanding the entire waking is nothing but consciousness. If the I, that individuality, the I thought, I notion, if you see I is also notion, that is also within the waking state, then you see there is one wakeful consciousness which is pervading the subject as well as an object. So the consciousness is independent, waking consciousness also is independent, pervading the entire waking state. Even the notion of I also keeps changing. We generally think the world is changing. See, this is how the common man thinks. Worldly objects are changing. Now I see the book, next I see the pen, next ball, then tree, then a human being, then chair, then something else. Like this, one after the other, objects keep changing. But the subject, I, the thought of I, the notion of I, aham buddhi, that I notion remains stable. This is what common man thinks. This I notion is the subject. Subject is knowing the waking world. Worldly objects keep changing. One is replaced by other. But I notion continues. This is a mistake. I notion is not steady. Steady means sthira. I notion is not sthira, is not steady. I notion is not steady. Sakshi is steady. Sakshi is sthira, consciousness is sthira, but I notion is not sthira, is not steady, because I notion is related to object. I notion is related to object. When I see the book, I am a seer of, I am a knower of book. When I look at the chair, it is not the same knower. Consciousness is same. Now I am a knower of the book. Next I look at the chair, I am the knower of the chair. I am the knower of a person, knower of a wall, knower of a tree, knower of something else. So the knowership keeps changing with reference to the object, according to the object. As the object changes, the knower is related to object. So the knowership also is a flow of thought. It is not single thought. It is a series of thought. Series of thoughts. So the what is stable, underlying consciousness, what is sthira, what is steady is Sakshi. The consciousness is Sakshi, but the subject is related to object. So that I notion, which is related to subject, is I notion. That I notion is a series of thoughts. One thought arrives with reference to one book and another object. Again I. The I is related to object. It keeps on changing. Okay? This is very subtle. This is a bit difficult for common man to understand. So if you watch, you will come to discover. You have to watch it. So what is stable is the consciousness. The I notion is also with reference to what? Just as here you compare, it becomes easy for you. In dream, the dream person, the dream knower means knower of dream objects. See, there are two knowers. Knower of the dream as a whole state, knower of a dream objects, internal objects. See the difference too? The dream, the knower of objects within the dream, things within the dream, one by one. The knower of dream objects knows the dream objects one by one gradually. So there is a sequence. One is he knows smaller things. Second point is he is a dependent on the object. With reference to object, he is a knower. He knows one after the other in a sequence. But the dream as a state, whole entire state you watch, you are consciousness. You are the witness of the entire state. So there are two levels of watching. ಎರಡು levels ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲವೇ? One is an individual within the dream is watching one after the other, individual objects. Another is the consciousness which knows the dream as a state, whole state. There, it doesn't know the details. It doesn't know one after the other. And its knowledge is not a sequence. Dreaming person sees in a sequence one after the other because he lives within the dream world. He lives within the dream world, watches the objects one after the other. He is within the dream world. But another level, the dream consciousness, the entire consciousness, that is Sakshi. Sakshi knows the entire dream as a one state, okay, in one stroke, one difference. Second difference, that means he doesn't know one by one internal details. Internal details he doesn't know one by one. Okay. Second thing is, the dreaming person is also part of the dream world. The dreaming knower, dreamer or dreaming individual is also part of the dream world. The consciousness doesn't have I notion. The entire dream Sakshi, the dream witness doesn't have I notion. Watch this. Dream consciousness doesn't have I notion. I notion forms the part of dream world. Okay. I notion is a part of the dream world. It is related to objects one by one. If you take the dream as a whole state, you are not an individual. With reference to the dream world, you are no more an individual. You are just consciousness, aware of. Just awareness. Without any. Now there is no relationship. Because it is the individual objects alone you get related one by one. When you see the entire dream state, dream as a state, entire dream state, you don't remain an individual. Your consciousness is not a sequence. There is no sequential consciousness. It is one uniform consciousness. There is no time series. Because it is the dreaming person who is a part of the dream experiences time, past, present, future. But as a dream sakshi, as a dream witness has no time. Okay? There is a direct experience without a sequence, there is no time. Past, present, future is not there. Time is not divided. Whole state you see in one stroke. You are conscious of the entire dream state in one stroke. So there is no time, there is no space, there is no subject-object relationship. You are just consciousness. Then when you are watching the dream, where do you find the dream? As a sakshi. As a dream sakshi, as a witness of the dream, where do you find the dream? Dream as a state. Do you find it in front of you? Because sakshi doesn't have a front and back. Because sakshi is not a relative to things. There are no subject-object relationship with reference to sakshi. A dreaming person within the dream is related to objects. There is a subject-object duality. Subject-object relationship. But when the dream consciousness, dream witness is watching the dream as a state, he doesn't see dream state as in front of him, but he sees the entire dream state as becoming himself. When he pervades the entire dream state doesn't exist apart from him. He swallows the dream state in short. In short, dream state he swallows. When he is watching the dream as an entire state merges into him. Merges into him, he swallows it. Tannalle mulge hogtade. Merges into him. Therefore we say the entire dream consciousness or the witnessing consciousness, when it looks at the dream as a whole state doesn't appear in front of him. Because sakshi and dream state, there are not two. There is no duality. It is not a relative consciousness. Okay, consciousness is independent. Dream as a state merges into him because he pervades the entire dream. When he pervades, he swallows it up. This becomes easy to see as a dream sakshi. Okay, that's why when we recall the dream, where do you see the dream now? See this waking state, you say world is in front of me, back and left and right, you say. It is easy. But when you are recalling the dream now, when you are remembering the dream, okay, dream world you remember, where is it now? With reference to your consciousness, where is it? It has merged into me. You remember, yet it is merged into you. You don't see it standing in front of you. You are the conscious of entire dream. When you are recalling the entire dream state, you are the consciousness, the witnessing consciousness, recalling the entire dream. You are not seeing the objects within the dream one by one. Now when you are recalling, after you come out of the dream, after you wake up from the dream, when you are recalling the dream, when you are recalling the dream, do you see one by one objects? No, you see the dream as a whole state. When you see the whole state, where does it exist? It merged into you, isn't it? That's why you are a witnessing consciousness. You are witnessing consciousness in whom the entire dream state merged. Similar is the waking. Now we have to apply, once we have understood the dream, similar has to be applied to the waking. Subject is heavy. Heavy because what is perceived with the sense organs is easy. What is imagined through thought is easy. It is neither sense perception nor it is mental perception. It is directly you. It is directly you, standing as yourself, standing as consciousness, not imagining relationship. It is not a relational knowledge. Relation means mind comes into picture. It is the mind that relates. Mind divides subject, object and relates to you. Here we are removing the relationship, the division of mind into subject, object. We remove the subject, object relationship. We remove the very mind and you have to see directly the consciousness. It becomes very subtle, very subtle. Therefore, mind itself is very concentrates in the beginning. Further you try to concentrate, then mind itself dissolves. It becomes very heavy, unbearable for people. Oh, they try to imagine. If you imagine your mind stands, don't allow the mind to stand. Let it dissolve. Let it disappear. Let the mind disappear, you remain pure consciousness without mind. Then it becomes easy. That's how. Purpose of Vedanta is only this. You have to remove the mind. It is the mind that is interfering. It is the mind that is coming in the way of the truth. Because mind is a false entity, like the snake sitting upon the rope. Upon means sitting in place of. For the perceiver, it is coming in the way of rope. It's a wrong entity. It is a wrong thing. It is not an entity, but it's a wrong perception. A wrong thought. Similarly, mind itself is a wrong thought. Subject, object, duality, relationship, time, space, object, all this. We live within that. All our worldly life comes within this alone. Now this we have to drop it. We have to erase it. We have to transcend it, whatever you call it. You call it erasing, dropping, transcending, all that means same. So you don't allow that subject-object division to appear. See the subject and object two together. Then when you are trying to see subject-object together as one, entire dream state as one stroke, you stand neither as a subject nor as an object. When you try to see the whole, you stand as a sakshi, dropping your individuality. You drop your individuality, then there is no more individual, no more mind, no more individuality, no more subject-object duality. You are just consciousness, which is timeless, spaceless, dualityless. It is just non-dual one consciousness. It is just a direct experience, a self-evident experience. It is a self-evident, self-shining experience. So there is no mind, there is no relationship of thinker and thought. Thinker and thought is dissolved. The whole purpose of Vedanta is not giving you an idea for you to think. We are not giving an idea, a thought for you to think. We are not describing and shaping a thought. See, note it. It is not a worldly subject. Any other subject is a conceptual. It gives you thought to think. We keep on shaping the thought. We explain the concept. You imagine trying to catch the concept. Here we are not giving you concept. You are not supposed to imagine a concept. In fact, the very imagining faculty of thinker thought dissolves. Thinker thought dissolves and the consciousness remains. Because the thinker thought is nothing but the consciousness appearing wrongly within it, coming in the way of consciousness. Okay. So therefore, the thinker thought relationship is dissolved and you stay as a pure consciousness. The purpose of Vedanta is this. Therefore, we say it is not intellectual. It is not conceptual. The concept is dissolved. The concept is erased. Intellect is dissolved. Intellect means mind. Mind is dissolved or debunked, whatever you call it. You dissolve, debunk it. You dissolve the very mind. And the relational, the mind means relation. It keeps on thinker thought. You are not a thinker. There is no thought. You don't stand as a thinker and there is no thought for you. Thinker and thought both are thoughts only. Thinker and thought both are thought only. You think that thinker is separate, it is also thought only. Then the consciousness, which is not a thought, but is just a direct consciousness. So that consciousness is not seeing in terms of subject-object, thinker and thought. It's that the consciousness is not seeing, consciousness is aware, not in terms of thinker and thought, not in terms of subject and object, but just as consciousness alone. Consciousness without division, without relationship. Therefore it is non-dual. Advaita means they imagine something Advaita there, neither up nor down. Up and down is all imagination of mind. The very mind dissolves. You are Advaita. Advaita means yourself. One self. That one self doesn't have a second person. Therefore, there is no second person. Therefore, you can't call even first person as I. It is neither first person nor second person nor third person. Is no person. It just is non-dual. Okay. So, the purpose of teaching is to dissolve the very mind, to remove the relationship, erase the relationship and dissolve the mind. And you stand as consciousness. This is simple. Vedanta is very simple, I tell you. Worldly subjects are very difficult. I found I failed Particularly economics is a boring subject I never understood in my life. Vedanta is very easy for me. It's very easy to because it is just you. Mind is unnecessarily functioning. Mind is imagining, functioning. Mind is trying to relate. Don't allow it to relate. Don't try too much. Your mind is imagining, relating. Let it relax. Let it relax. The very functioning of the mind, let it dissolve, let it withdraw. Let the mind withdraw. Let the functioning stop. Functioning withdrawn. Let the relation, don't look for relationship. Because it is not generally any other knowledges. Any knowledge in worldly life, you thinker trying to catch a thought of something. That means you stand as a thinker trying to think a thought. That means your relationship, striking a relationship. You are making a relationship. Here, you don't make a relationship, you dissolve the relationship. To dissolve the relationship, you stand relationless. What do you need? Do you need functioning of the mind? No. Let the mind be not there. You don't need the mind. Because without the mind you stand as yourself. Self-evident witness. Self-evident sakshi, consciousness. Even these are words. Self-evident witness, all these are words alone. So don't go by the words. It is direct experience. It is self-consciousness just standing on its own. It is self-evident. No, you don't need a thought. So you don't need a thought to understand it because it is independent of thought. It is independent of thought. Thought itself is not required. Therefore, it is self-existing, independent thing. Therefore, let the mind drop off. Let the mind leave it. But we try to retain the mind generally. We retain the mind, try to imagine, try to think, try to understand through the mind. Then mind is functioning. When mind is functioning, then mind remains. Then you remain in a state, waking state, dream state, all states. When the mind itself dissolves, all states disappear, you remain stateless. Neither time, nor place, nor anything. You remain just stateless. This is the purpose of Vedanta. This is teaching. All our sadhanas, whatever you do, all meditation, all Vedanta, all everything is to understand this much. Once it understood, everything is over. Because you become free, eternally free, ever free. Because it is the mind that divides, creates all fear, worry, tension, everything comes in. Then you are free from worry, free from tension, no pain, no worry, no sorrow, nothing. It's totally free. And that's why we say enlightening. Means it's a total light alone. Full and free and happy. No insecurity, no worry, no fear of death, no fear of anything else. Because totally free. Absolute one it is. Similarly, what we have seen with reference to dream, same thing with reference to waking also. Waking individuality is a part of the waking state and you stand as wakeful consciousness. Wakeful consciousness is not within the waking state. Note it. Waking individual is part of the waking state. He is within the waking state, watching one by one. Objects, individual objects within the waking state. But the wakeful consciousness is knowing. It knows the entire waking state. Wakeful consciousness is not located in waking state. Note this. Located means ಒಂದು ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿರುವುದು. Wakeful consciousness is not located in the waking state. That's an important thing. Being located is jiva. Jiva is located within the waking state. But the wakeful consciousness is not located in the state. State itself is appearing in the consciousness. State is within the consciousness, including the located individual. That located individuality is within the consciousness. Okay, consciousness is not located in the waking state. Consciousness is free from location. That means it doesn't have a point. It is pointless. Point means one location, ಒಂದು ದೇಶ, ಒಂದು ಜಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲ. It is pointless, means it is infinite. Ananta. It is infinite, Ananta. So, it is a waking individual is part of the waking state because he is facing the object one by one. When he is facing the object one by one, one is he is located. He is here and not there. He is bound by space. He is located in space. Then he is seeing one by one object. So when he sees the objects one by one in a series, then the time comes. So that individual is experiencing time, or his experiences are within time. He is within space, within time, and within the relationship of subject-object. Therefore, time, space, and relationship. All the three come for the waking individual. But watch, don't pay to the waking objects. Pay attention to the wakeful consciousness. Wakeful, watch it. Wakeful consciousness. It is not a given consciousness of given object. It is not a given thought. Okay, it is the whole wakeful consciousness, where the entire waking state is seen in one stroke, where your individuality also is included. Individuality too is included in the waking state. So the wakeful consciousness is just witnessing the waking as a state as a whole. Therefore there is no time. When there is no series, because series comes only when you see the objects one by one. You see the waking as an entire state. There is no sequence, so there is no time. Now, the wakeful consciousness or the waking witness, where does he see the waking world? Does he see it in front? Therefore there is no space. When he is aware of the entire waking state, this gets included in the consciousness. The waking state as a whole, you watch, it's like you torchlight. You switch on the torchlight and focus it on an object. What happens? If the torchlight is small, it illumines the book. Okay. Later, if torchlight you take it away and then focus it, then what happens? The light falls on the entire book. That means the entire book comes within the light. The entire book is swallowed in the light. Okay. So the book doesn't exist outside the light. This is very interesting. When you see a thing, like you see the daylight. When you see an object in a daylight, do you see the object other than the light? This is very interesting point. When you see this itself, the book you are seeing in the light, do you see it is apart from the light? Light itself falls on the book, assumes the shape of the book and appears. What are you seeing? You are not seeing the book, you are seeing the light in the form of a book. Note it. You are seeing the light in the form of a book. Otherwise, the book itself doesn't exist. Nobody has seen the book so far. Tell me, have you ever seen the book? This is a Vedantic magic. Have you seen a book ever? There is no book at all. Nobody has ever seen. In fact, it doesn't exist. Ayya. Does it exist? Show me. You show me the book. Where is it? You say, in the light I show. Okay, show me. You put the light. What happened? The light assumes the shape of a book and comes and appears. What do you see? You are seeing the light in the form of a book. There is no book. Similarly, it is the consciousness that is appearing as the waking world, in the shape of the world. Therefore, the world is nothing but your own consciousness appearing in all these shapes. Therefore, when you pay attention to the consciousness, it is the consciousness alone in and through of the entire waking state. Inside, outside, subject is consciousness, object is consciousness, because they are all consciousness alone. The one wakeful consciousness is pervading the entire state. Therefore, it swallows, it totally dissolves, swallows inside. It merges into consciousness. There is only one consciousness. Okay. Therefore, that is a witness. It is the witness of dream, witness of waking. That means both waking state and dream state, both are merged into it. Both it swallows. It stands on its own. Okay. Then what is it? You may give any name. You call it Atma, Brahma, anything, truth, whatever names you give, they are all external names. Because there is no mind. Who is to give the name? You give the name from this worldly standpoint. But in that experience, there is nobody to give the name. Because there is no mind to think of it. There is no speech to give the name. Anyway, we impose the names and give them. But at that level, there is no name and no thought. It is itself, self-shining, which swallows the entire waking state, swallows the dream state, and itself stands. Okay? I think today this much is enough. They also have started. ಇದು ನಮ್ಮದ ಹೊರಗಿಂದ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇವರನ್ನು ನೋಡಿ ಅವರು, ಅವರನ್ನು ನೋಡಿ ಇವರು, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇಷ್ಟ. ವಾಹ್, nice. They don't ask us, they don't even take our permission. We are going to make nothing. Anybody will start anything. I say even Holiness Pura also. In our own ashram, I felt, our own ashram, I felt, hey, you are making such a noise. Tell the neighbors. If they have something else, they will postpone their work. If they are doing something, they don't tell, just anybody starts loud noise in your ashram. In our own ashram, they do it. This is how it is. Anyway, okay. Today we started Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om Tat Sat. ఈరోజు